Hello! I thought about writing a script for this, but I was going to be taking a lot of information from this really fascinating New York Times article that came out before Kamala was officially promoted to being the official pick of the Democrats. And plus I'm 2 beers deep now, so may as well. And it was so fascinating that I genuinely thought it might just be interesting to sort of just read through it, intersperse in some of my own personal thoughts as an independent Republican, but also be reading out the thoughts of journalists, many of whom are actually Democrats, and getting their thoughts and opinions as they try to look past the Harris honeymoon and see what the future of this campaign will hold. My opinions will be here, but it's not a hit piece. If you guys are interested in joining the conversation, I would love for you to do it in the comment section, by the way. Then, my name is Richard. The channel is called something I can't remember. One more beer and I remember what my own name is. What is it? Fletcher? No, that's not right. A small team of opinion writers at the New York Times are brought together to talk about who could replace Biden on the Democratic ticket, and it's a fascinating read, so let's just get to it. And as a little bit of a dessert at the end, we're also going to read through their thoughts on the governor of my home state, J.B. Pritzker, and watch him get roasted alive, so stick around for that. Harris has a feeble electoral track record. Oh, she struggled badly in 2020 and barely before then won her first attorney general race in California. But she'll benefit from a likely unified Democratic establishment. Very, very true. We have seen that pretty obviously now that she has been picked since the article was written. And she can forcibly press the case against Trump on abortion rights. That is absolutely true. That will be key in this election. I actually think that that was one of the worst things about picking J.D. Vance as a running partner, was specifically his hard stance on abortion. I think that's actually gonna cost Trump a lot of votes, and it caused a lot of young women to swing to Kamala. Now, whether or not young women are actually, a demographic that's gonna get off their asses and go out and vote, we don't know yet, unfortunately, but abortion is the issue they seem most keen to get up and vote for, so that's going to be a key thing. I think that's actually a really, really wise observation. Harris is the clear favorite to win the nomination and would allow the easiest transition to a new candidate. Yeah, that's going to bite the Democrats in the ass eventually. Eventually, especially as now, a lot more genuine introspection on the part of Democrats is being done on their own party in the wake of, starting to understand that Biden was actually inept and that the right was actually right about that for years before the Democrats themselves admitted it. There's going to be a lot more Democrats and a lot more young Democrats who want to see a future for themselves or for their children who are going to be really closely examining the party policy more than ever. And I think the fact that she was able to sweep in with such little resistance so late in the game will bite them in the ass when the Harris honeymoon wears off. I really do. I could be wrong, but I do think it will bite them in the end. She has no demonstrated appeal to swing voters and cannot run away from the Biden-Harris record on inflation and immigration. Her best arguments are that she's not old and she's not Trump. And those might be enough to win. Yeah, no, Josh kind of summed up my thoughts there pretty perfectly at the end. Yeah, that's absolutely true. She might be able to take it in. She might be able to keep this wave from cresting before mid-November, but long term, I don't know. And with a possible debt crisis within the next 4 years in the middle of her presidency, and a lot of the business class knowing that, I don't know. It could go either way, but we'll see. As the sitting vice president, she is the only serious contender for the nomination. I don't know if that's true, but okay. The party, it appears, is already falling in line. That we do agree on. She is a stronger, more confident campaigner than you remember. And if Democrats are united behind her coming out of the convention, and the enthusiasm for her is already palpable, then she will be formidable going into the fall. Okay, so that's an interesting point because the actual Democratic convention was long after this article, but still has not happened yet as of the filming of this video. It's in about a week and a half. And there have already been a lot of major concerns about the security up in Chicago, especially in the wake of the Trump assassination attempt that Democrats are pretending didn't exist. And it's interesting that we have the security concerns from both extreme right-wing possible rioters and extreme left-wing rioters and extreme left-wing rioters in the form of the pro-Palestine movement, along with the fact that Greg Abbott will probably send at least a few buses that day full of migrants to possibly right on the DNC's doorstep. We'll have to see how it works out. Yeah, I think Jamel might be a little more hopeful about the convention than I am. And speaking as someone within spitting distance of Chicago, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to go well. It could go extremely well. It could not. She's got the energy of not very elderly, and she'd be competing in front of a nation that has long called for a not very elderly presidential option. I mean, you're not wrong. A mediocre politician from a deep blue state with low national approval ratings. All factually accurate statements. She may find a way to win, but she would be nobody's top choice were she not the top choice of the president, i.e. Biden. Relief at Biden's exit will generate a lot of professed enthusiasm, but it will be fake. I don't know if I agree with that, actually. I know you're probably expecting me to be really harsh on Kamala, but honestly, I don't know if the sentiment toward her is fake, or if that's how I would put it anyway. 100% the camp on the Democrats who are saying, it's like Obama 2008. No. She does not have the charisma, the likability, or the policy positions for that. She lacks all three. Absolutely not. But that does not mean there's not genuine positive sentiment toward her. Quite a lot, actually. Like I mentioned before, where she's been campaigning the most heavily, young, chronically online women, specifically in the TikTok community, sure do have a lot of very positive feelings about her. But again, whether or not that demographic is one that's going to actually show up to the polls, who knows? So I do think there is more genuine positive sentiment toward her than he's giving it credit for, but also, yeah, what the ability of that to genuinely translate into votes, I don't know, it could go either way. Harris can bring a shell-shocked party together quickly, and she's superb in prosecuting the case against Trump. What? She's not still a prosecutor. What are you talking about? Other candidates might seem more electable in a vacuum, but as Harris would put it, we exist in the context of all in which we live and what came before us. Yeah, that's what context is, Harris. I mean, that's not wrong, but again, that also kind of goes back to, like, she didn't really get swept in because she was the perfect candidate for the time. She was the perfect candidate to take Biden's electoral votes. That's not quite the same. I don't know. I don't think I agree with that. Trump sees Harris as a threat if she can be bold. True. Trump is scared. Trump is genuinely afraid that if she genuinely beats him in a debate, he could lose. I actually do agree with that. Trump is probably more scared than he needs to be, honestly. I remember just recently hearing, of all things, TLDR comments on how bad of a debater Harris is.
Harris does have weaknesses. She's not a great debater or public speaker.
Girl, if British news aggregates are referring to you as a poor debater, you were a prosecutor! Trump will have to spend time and money rebuting her and antagonizing abortion opponents and other MAGAites. The abortion thing is going to be a big issue no matter what, but I don't think there's anything Trump can do about abortion. The best thing he could possibly do is just avoid the issue entirely. I mean, the ideal solution would be to actually bring forward conservative women who have their own views on abortion that have not been surfaced, but neither side seemed interested in listening to conservative women. Whatever. Even Biden fans see Harris as one of the weakest elements of his administration. True. A country desperate for change would bristle at the feeling that once again, real Democratic choice is being sidelined in favor of the most deserving insider. Yes. And Harris is a fundamentally weak candidate. She fizzled out early in her first presidential run and floundered in the vice presidency. Floundered is a strong word. I mean, she did fine. I do distinctly remember the sentiment being pretty broad that no one wanted her to be president if Biden died, and that was one of the first times that his age really started to become an issue. But I mean, as a second in command, she did okay. She was fine in giving empowered speeches to young girls within the TikTok crowd, pumping them up and going, "Oh my God, you're gonna change the world!" She did great at that. Whatever, that was fine. She was a pretty good second in command. No one wanted her to actually be in office, but whatever. She did fine in that. I wouldn't say floundered. Overall, I think Harris is a pretty terrible pick. But again, as a conservative independent, that's somewhat to be expected. I feel like she was the candidate who was just the easiest to slot into a spot. And eventually, that's going to catch up to the Democrats. Eventually, People are going to be pissed about it. There's going to be real scrutiny on her, and she's going to have to get up in front of a crowd that's not primed for her, and she's going to have to open her mouth, and I don't think it's going to end well. Could be wrong. She was a prosecutor somehow, but that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to end well. We'll see. I'm getting a lot of Hillary 2016 vibes here from this campaign. But I did promise you guys dessert, so let's read some funny quotes about my own home state's governor. Pritzker has lots of money. I don't really understand the enthusiasm around him otherwise. There are other Rust Belt governors with more impressive track records of winning and governing. Certainly explains why Illinois is hemorrhaging people left and right, and along every single rung of the socioeconomic ladder. Should stay exactly where he is. Short, sweet, and to the point. You're not wrong. Wait, no, I live in Illinois. The rich governor of a famously corrupt blue state. What could go wrong? Anyway, I think that's probably about the best place we could possibly leave it. I hope you guys enjoyed the format of me just kind of reading out a fun article of smart people's opinions, or at least I certainly hope that they're smart. I have been Richard. You've been amazing, and I'll see you in the next one.